coat, which also seemed weird. I don't think
healthy coat.
Yep.
I don't look at you and think healthy coat, but whatever Google says is fine with me.
Yeah. No, I was at a football game last night and was screaming just in children's faces, not actually for the team.
Well, I think it's important to distinguish that it was an American football game.
Yes, especially with our guests today.
With our guests today, it's important to say that, because I'm sure he'll have a thing or two about using the term football inappropriately. Please, everybody, welcome from the IDKS, all the way from across the pond, Greg Judd. Woo!
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for
I would say there's
on.
a cheer in the background or something.
Yeah. Oh, we'll put it in post.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah,
Claps here. Insert claps here.
We'll have a theme song playing, and he's doing the wave. But anyways, yes. Oh, that's a magnificent wave.
Yes.
But yeah, man. Thank you for joining us. Once again, it's early on my end, which is weird for me. Usually, I need like 36 hours to wake up for an episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, given the time difference, early for me. About what, midday for you?
Yep. And then Greg, you're late afternoon.
Yeah, midday evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about 5 o'clock over here. Yeah, I've had more than enough sleep, so I feel sorry for you guys. I hope you're all good, though.
Yeah, you're going to be carrying this podcast, I think. So, real quick,
you're not in short supply.
Yeah.
Hey, me too. That's actually what they call me. That's what they call me on the street. Short supply.
That's what my girlfriend calls me.
Oh.
Well, we already have a lot in common. This is going to go well.
Yes.
So, like I said, Greg is joining us from across the pond. He is in a band that I have started listening to and quickly becoming a regular listen in the Vincent household. He is from a band called the IDKS. Oh, thank you. And I just wanted to give you a quick introduction and then kind of let you roll. Like, give us a backstory of yourself as much as you want to go back. I like to sometimes go, start from childhood. Where were you born? Where were you raised? Stuff like that. So maybe if you wouldn't mind starting somewhere like that.
Yeah. So I was born in East London, in Homerton Hospital in Hackney, and lived there for, I think, nearly less than a year, or maybe about a year. But when my mum and dad lived in the beautiful part of East London, they were getting broken into like every other day. So they were like, it's time for a change. So they moved out to Essex, where I have now been residing. Yeah, grew up there, went to school in Debden, sort of grew up there, met some friends, went to college. And college is where I met the first bandmate, Mason, who's our drummer.
Shout out Mason.
Yeah, went to college. Then I got a full-time. Yeah, shout out to the drummer Mason. Then I got a full-time job in IT. Done some travelling. Went and worked on a party island in Magaluf, which I guess we'll probably touch on later in the questions. Yeah. Went back to work, done some traveling in Australia.
Wow.
Came back again, and then when I came back from there, I actually met an Australian guy in this country who convinced me to start the band.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's how I met Jules and Mitch. So it's a little bit about me, I guess. Grew up born in East London, grew up in Essex, and spent most of my time in Essex, to be fair.
Okay, right on. And so I guess with that being said, the theme of the podcast is remain, roam, return. So it's about whether it's better to stay, around your hometown or home state, home city. If it's better to move away, which is roam, or return, which is somebody who grew up somewhere, moved away, and came back. Where would you consider yourself on that? Are you remainer, roamer, or returner?
So for me, I'm remain means something different in the UK. But for me, it's sort of like yeah, it's wherever my family is where is sort of around that area is where home is. 'Cause I've sort of lived in quite a few different places, and everywhere I live ends up feeling like home. So for me, I've always said that wherever my family are. So weirdly enough, in Essex is mostly where my family live at the moment, but the most of my other family live in Liverpool. So I've always said if none of my family was here, I'd live in Liverpool because that's where the rest of my family are essentially. I love it. Okay. As well. It's a great place, which is weird for a southerner to say because there's a weird vibe between in the whole thing. But my mum being born and growing up in Liverpool, like for me, spending summers there, meeting the family, and like it being such a welcoming place, it's such a different vibe for me. In contrast to my friends who are like massive football fans, travel there, and there's such a massive rivalry in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your because you kind of have more of a southern accent when you go up to Liverpool. Do they point that out at all, or do you feel like it sounds like you still feel very welcome there, even though it's kind of funny with the UK just in general of how different accents can be in such a small area where you can very easily point out where you're from. And so do you still feel very like when people hear your accent up there, do you still like, do they treat you the same or do they treat you differently, or how does that feel?
Yeah, it's so for me it's they definitely notice the accent, and they you definitely get a couple of Cockney and stuff like that, jokes about being from the south and a soft southerner and stuff like that. But for me it's like, my mum was from, I think she was born, I don't know if she was born there, but she was from Egbert in Liverpool. And like, as soon as I tell people that, it's just like, I remember I was in a night out in Dublin, of all places, and I met this guy and he had a Scouse accent. I was like, "Oh, you're a Scouser?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, my mum's a Scouser." Next thing, we're like hugging and like thing, because the whole like in Liverpool, they've got such a they've got such a closeness, and like I love I guess you can call it a culture of like togetherness and their social being. So I think as soon as they realise that, I mean, it's weird for me because on my dad's side, we don't really see the family much. We haven't got much family, so for me, the norm is my family in Liverpool and that kind of accent and stuff like that. So I usually forget, but then obviously they must notice. But then once you're talking, they sort of understand. I get it, and I'll never be accepted as I haven't got a purple bin. There's like this whole Liverpool purple bin thing, so I haven't got that. But yeah, I guess I'm semi-accepted from what I know anyway.
If you don't mind explaining what a Scouser is, because that was I lived in the UK for a hot second, just for half a year, and I didn't know the term Scout until fairly recently. So do you mind going over like what is that considered?
Yeah, so basically it's something to do. So I don't know the ins and outs off the top of my head, so people are best Googling this. But Scouse is like a traditional meal from Liverpool. And by the way, tastes phenomenal. If you go there, it's like the East End. The East End have pie and mash. Liverpool has Scouse, and obviously that was like a staple meal and things like that. So it just came from that Scousers, and that's Liverpool, and they've sort of taken that on themselves. Like you can hear, if Paddy the Baddy Pimblett and people like that, like they all call themselves Scousers and stuff like that. They've taken it on. Like in the East End, they call themselves Cockneys. It's just like that sort of vibe, really. Yeah,
no, I was about to say for our more of American listeners, because that's where we're based out of. Paddy the Baddy, and then the show, Welcome to Wrexham is very big in the States here. And Paul Mullen, who's a very proud Scouser as well. You can tell, like, I was like, oh yeah, they have the very, like, it's a very particular accent too. It's almost like they're eating marbles a little bit, or going back to my gravel story.
Going back to your
completely eliminated all of the Liverpool area now. No.
You guys are. They are very tribal. They can shun you if, like, have you heard? Do you know about the Sun newspaper and everything that went on there with that in Liverpool?
Yep.
Yeah, I watched my grandmother my other grandmother, when she was alive, she was here, and then my grandparents had come down from Liverpool, and my granddad started reading the Sun newspaper because it was sitting there on the table. I watched my my Scouse grandmother absolutely batter him with it for even looking at it, because to them the Sun newspaper is just toilet paper. They won't touch it. They don't sell it up there, and rightly so. After what was written about them and the things they said was absolutely disgusting. So yeah, I completely agree with that sentiment and that. But yeah, they're very tribal.
It's really awesome to see Christian and Greg being able to bond like this. And meanwhile, this whole time that you guys are bonding, I'm sitting here going, I do want to know what a Remainer means. You said it has a different term.
So a Remainer. Yeah. So here in the UK, I'm guessing you guys heard about Brexit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with Brexit, you had the Leavers and you had the Remainers. So the Remainers are the people who wanted to stay in the EU, and then you had the people who, well, I say the EU, the European Union, and then you had the people who wanted to leave. So yeah, to us, a Remainer is someone who wants to stay.
Okay, so retroactively, that's what this podcast is based off of.
Yes, it's all Brexit.
Oh, really? No, it's not. Have I just been stupid right there? What have I done? 5 seconds in and I'm the idiot. Great. So,
no. Don't worry. Me and Damien still have at least 45 minutes of us to prove to you
idiots.
We are the idiots.
Yeah. I mean, I asked you what it meant. That makes me the idiot.
No, don't worry. When I first moved to the UK and are learning the subtle differences of words not to use because they have a totally different meaning and so like I think the biggest one was you'll get a kick out of this, Greg. Fanny in the States means butt.
I knew you was going to say it. Yeah.
Yep. And then because Fanny in the UK means vagina. For our listeners. And so a fanny pack in the States means like now I know the term bum bag.
Yeah.
Bum bag.
Yep. And I was like, oh, you got like someone had like a fanny pack. And I was like, oh, nice fanny pack. And they're like, what the fuck did you
What did you call me?
what? And then
you want one?
The other one was pants, meaning, your undergarments. And I was like, I had gone out on like one of the trails and like had slipped, and I was like, oh, I got my pants dirty. They're like, how the like
did you shit yourself or what?
Yeah, they're like
exactly. Yeah,
someone was like that. I was like I don't know, I was just walking. They were like, why weren't you wearing trousers? I was like, because I'm not from the 1700s. I'm not the king of England over here with fucking trousers. And the last one I'll talk about is for just the general like bathroom situation, you will call it either the loo or the toilet. And one of my classmates was like, oh yeah, I slipped in the toilet. And I was like, because toilet in the state
toilet is the actual bowl.
Is the bowl, that you go in. I was like, how is that even possible to slip in the toilet?
While we're in there, yeah.
And then,
must have been really drunk.
Yeah, I was like, what? How? What were you even doing in the toilet?
I was going on a cruise.
Yeah,
apparently, just bathing.
Yeah. Fancy the swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so like we said, plenty of time for us to be idiots. I mean, Christian just thought trousers meant he was a king. So let's
still do.
So let's move on to, you mentioned this party island, and you said the name, and I can safely say I've never heard that name before, and I am immediately intrigued in a party island. So what is that, and what happened, or can you not say?
Well, I can say, but I don't know how much I can say.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
It's pretty crazy. Like, you're out there. So essentially, I was about 19 at the time, and 2 of my friends had done a season before, and the whole place is just it's just an island of just debauchery. It's like you go out there, you get drunk, Everyone's just sleeping with each other, and it's just it's just fucking
and
great.
sleeping in toilets.
It's just anything. It's almost way better than sleeping.
What was the name of the island again?
Magaluf.
Magaluf. I don't know if I know that. Like I know Ibiza, like that. You know, is a big one. So where is it?
Yeah, so that's one of the party islands.
Is it off the coast of like Spain or like Greece or?
Yeah, I believe you're gonna get me here because my geography is absolutely atrocious. I believe it's on the Isle of Mallorca.
Okay,
I think so.
Okay,
Jamie, can you check that?
Yeah, pull that up, Jamie.
No, it's like
Magaluf is Mallorca, Spain.
Okay,
Mallorca, Spain is where it's at.
It's an island. Yeah, so I think Mallorca, I think, is the island, which is off of Spain, and then it's a part of that island, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. So our job day to day was literally walking up and down a topless beach selling tickets for a bar crawl, which eventually I think became illegal in the end because, like, Jeremy. Do you guys know Jeremy Carl?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so he's like your version of Jerry Springer, basically. He's like the UK version of Jerry Springer. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah,
my idol.
So the year that I was out there, it's like crazy. But he's like the year I was out there, people were like sniffing bath salts and like people attacking each other and stuff.
Yeah.
So he ended up coming out for some reason and like putting a ban to bar crawls. But just before it got banned, I was out there. So yeah, we'd be selling tickets day to day. We'd be breaking into hotel rooms to sell tickets. To get people on our bar crawl, and then you'd be working the bar crawl at night, and it would just literally be like getting people to drink, get fucked up as possible, play drinking games, sex games. There was one bar. This wasn't our bar crawl, which was like the most famous. So that the UK listeners will probably know about this one. It was a fair few years ago now. There's probably like news articles about it. So there was a bar, and we used to frequent there a fair bit because I think our bar crawl went there, or like when we went on workers' nights out, and they said, how deep can I go into like sexual content? Before
as much as you want.
We put the nice big E on all of our episodes because we can't control ourselves.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, one of our first episodes ever, we started just randomly getting into piss play. So I think all bets are off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, so one of the bars that we used to frequent as workers. So you'd go there, and then this one time, this girl went there, and they said, right, if you suck as many dicks as you can, we'll give you a bottle. Well, no, sorry, we'll buy you and your friends a holiday. So she went round, and there was a video that went round in the end as well of this girl, and she was like just putting every guy's dick in her mouth. It was just fucking crazy. And then it came to the end of it, and they went, "Oh, you've won your holiday," and they gave her a big bottle of champagne that just said "holiday" on it.
Oh my god!
Like, oh mate, she was livid. The video went round. I think that's part of the reason why this Jeremy Carl guy came. And like, I think UK police had to come in the end because there was like all sorts of stuff, like people being like, it's literally the wild. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was the best couple of months of my life. Yeah, it was just like crazy. Like, I was absolutely fine out there, but it's essentially the Wild West. Like, you go out there, there's like no. It just felt like there was no rules. It could be dangerous at points.
Yeah.
Going back to the bar crawl. So like, we the funniest story. So. I'm not going to mention any names because I'll probably get in trouble now. And stuff like that. But so we're on the bar crawl and we start one of the sex games, and so the first one's like, right, so you got 3 guys sitting down in chairs and you got like 3 girls. They've all like it's no one's force. It's like who wants to be a part of it, and if they say then they can get involved, do as much as you want, sort of thing. So 3 random guys sitting down, 3 random girls that they don't know. And the first game is just like, right, you've got to give the guy an erection or whatever. So they're like there and they're doing like all these dances and stuff like that. And then they're like, oh, but you can't touch him. I think the first one was, so you can't touch him. And then eventually it was like, all right, okay, now you can touch him and do a bit more. So like the girls are taking their tops off and like touching this guy and all stuff like that. And then it was like, right, last one, no no rules barred sort of thing.
Yeah.
So this one girl, the other girl's just like, I don't really want to do anything. And this one girl just grabs this guy's shorts, rips them down, and she's just like going for it, like absolutely going for gold.
Oh my God.
Crazy. So we're watching this, like, what the hell is going on? And this isn't even, the worst bit is later on. It's probably we're like 2 bars later, and like obviously, so this girl's been like sucking this guy off or whatever, and then like 2 bars down, we see one of our friends, and he's kissing this girl. And we're just like, mate, have you not seen what just happened 2 bars ago? Like with the and we're just absolutely kissing ourselves.
You just know.
Like, oh, why didn't you tell me?
This gives
like,
new.
But I think he wasn't there for that part.
This gives new meaning to the term Fire Island, aka Fire When You Pee Island.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
It's just like,
oh my God.
You know, the joke is that, you know, all British people are very repressed with their sexuality, and it just sounds like this is where you have to go. You're not allowed to do it in the UK. You have to export it to Spain.
This is like the UK Rumspringa.
Yes. Or again, I'm going to do a very UK reference that Damien, you're not going to get, but Greg is. It just makes me think of the first In-Betweeners movie.
Yeah, I thought that is what you was going to say.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't know that.
It's essentially because weirdly enough, that was originally supposed to be filmed in, was it Marbella or Malia? But then because they ended up filming it in Magaluf after. So even though they're saying they're in Malia, because it all got changed, something happened with the rule, and that's why they finished it off the film, recording it in Magaluf, because this place is just absolutely crazy. It was like the Wild West of all the party islands, but I mean it was great. Like we made some great memories. Like I'm living with my friends. We're living in like some cockroach infested places, and you know, but we had a great time. We had a lot of fun. And it was an amazing
sounds
place to be. I guess that was
like
fun for a while.
The best job a 19-year-old can have, right? Of just
100%, yeah.
Is the island still like that? Like, if you know, like, have you heard any updates, or has it like had to calm down, or?
Yeah, I think after like there was a lot of influx of like so the bar crawls had to eventually stop. They still sort of had them going for a bit in like a weird fashion, but that had to stop. I remember there being even when I was there was like a heavy influx of like UK police and stuff like that. And apparently it slowed down a bit. It's still there. Mm-hmm. The places are still there. If it's as crazy as it was, I don't know, because I haven't been in a very long time. It's just, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I haven't really been back. I'd love to go just to relive like the places, you know, where we went. You know, we had a place that was an absolute, dive. Like, we called it Paradise Tower, and it was an absolute hellhole. Yeah. But it was just phenomenal. Like you said, for a 19-year-old to be able to live in such a place. I mean, weird that you say that as well, that like, you know, the best job to have. I remember we was all in a bar one time, and I remember that all these, they were Scousers as well. I think that most of them were mums as well, but they were like really good looking ladies, all topless, dancing around, going crazy. And we were all standing there just recording each other, going, "This is our job. This is our job. This is amazing. This is the best job ever." So, but we had a great time. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, it sounds very much like, for our American listeners, like an American college spring break situation where you're somewhere warm. You know, the fucking, I'm going to quote Jimmy Buffett: "Changes in latitude, changes in attitude."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or even like Vegas, kind of another American reference of like, you go there for a few days, and then like what, you know, the Vegas thing, like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I'm not sure if that's quite the motto for the island you were on.
Seems like it.
I think it very much is it is. It's crazy because the amount of people I've taught, I couldn't believe it. So when we were there as well, like the amount of like hen do's and stag do's that went out there when we were there is crazy. I would say about 80% of the brides to be would sleep with someone on our bar crawl. 80%,
really?
high 80%. It was crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if you're out in Magaluf or Hender or Stag Do, I think you're only there for one reason. So
you know what's going to happen.
Yep. I think it's safe to say that is not on my bucket list now that I'm a married man.
Yes, same here.
Probably have to skip over that part.
I feel like we both, me and Damien, for our wives, have to have a disclaimer of we will never go to this island.
I've never been there. I don't plan on it. Beat the allegations now.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So
I'm sure I remember seeing something like Damien. Maybe
yes.
I'm wrong.
To be fair, me and Damien do look like the most British looking non-British people.
Yeah.
Or Irish, depending on.
I definitely get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
With
you look at us, and then you hear us talking, like, oh no, but yeah. You're like, oh yeah, you guys look like I might see you down at the pub.
Yeah, in Europe they call us the letdowns because we look like we belong, and then we go, "Hey, how are you?" And they go, "Oh, god damn it."
Yeah, I remember going back to my university class. I was in a class where I was the only American, huge lecture hall, and I answered a question, and I think I saw literally all 200 people look directly at me and who the fuck is this guy with this voice?
It wasn't your voice, it's because you answered wrong so confidently.
Yes.
What uni was it that you went to?
I went to the University of Bath, which is very
oh, nice.
Yeah, going to Bath, I didn't know that. It was just it worked with my American university, and I got there and I was like, I don't think I'm allowed here. I think I'm supposed to be in Birmingham. That seems more of a place where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
It's
and that's Birmingham, Alabama.
There either if you in Birmingham.
So it's I got there. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, weirdly enough, when I was in Australia, I met. We'll go into that later as well. When I was in Australia, I met two guys from Bath, and they were the most crazy guys I think I've ever met in my life. They were just. But I feel like you said, where you're in Bath, and it's it seems very posh and everyone's well to do.
Yep.
I feel like they were away from their family and they could let loose, and the sort of things they did was just I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was just absolutely fucking insane. But
yes,
I'll go into that later when the question comes up.
Yeah, so I guess going back to so you said you were, I think, there for a season on that island. How was it coming back to the UK after that?
Oh, it was crazy. It was such a huge change from going to my routine was staying up till I don't know 4 or 5 in the morning, getting up at 10 a.m. for the morning meeting, going out selling tickets all day. And the thing is, because we lived on the strip, so the music was non-stop. When I got back, it was so quiet. I had to sing club songs in my head to get me to sleep because it was just so ingrained in my head of listening to the same bass line all night, every night. So that was crazy. Hearing because where I live in Essex as well, there's a lot of fields, there's a lot of farmland. It's very peaceful. It's just outside of London. It's the suburbs of London essentially. So it's it's very peaceful, very quiet, really nice. So going back into that was crazy. But the one thing that we all found very weird, and we all agreed on this because we went to the pub after to have a chat about it. We all came back with a superiority complex. I think that's the word. So in the sense that because it's crazy because when you're out there and you're a worker, you get treated differently to just the local punters who come along, even though there's not really a difference. You're out there to work, to party. Everyone's out there for the same reason. The only difference is I know more people and things like that. And a lot of the girls who go out there, it was very easy to sleep with girls because they would literally go out there and just be oh, I want to sleep with a worker and stuff like that. And it's these sort of things where you'd have a different wristband. So when you get to bars and you speak to people, they give you free drinks, or they'd treat you differently to every other person because they knew you was a worker and they'd seen you before and stuff like that. So I found that really weird because it was trying to transition back from being you almost felt like because I never ever think, and I never have thought, I didn't want to think at the time. I hate thinking like everyone is the same, no one is better than anyone else in this world, no matter who you are, status, money, whatever. So like to have that, it was like rewiring my brain almost to be like, you're just the same as, you know, everyone else in this world. Don't think you're better just because you got a couple of free drinks and stuff. But psychologically, that was a bit weird. But other than that, I think I got back pretty quickly, got back into the swing of things. I had a full-time job before I left, working in IT on like a help desk and things like that. So, yeah, got straight back into it, and it wasn't too bad, to be fair.
So would you say that living there for a little while, is that kind of where it clicked that you might want to start doing something with music? I mean, you're surrounded by it all the time. You have that kind of party lifestyle. Was that any kind of impetus to building a band, or have you always wanted to be in a band?
Well, actually, if anything, it probably done the complete reverse because
you wanted to become a DJ instead.
I met so yeah. No, I met like I mean they're all like pretty much Z-list, but I met like quite a few celebrities when I was out there. So we met like all the Towie celebrities who are not really celebrities and stuff like that. We had like I remember Dayton and Pritchard, who were like our version of Jackass, like Dirty Sanchez and stuff. They were good lads. I really like them. But like you're meeting all these different celebrities, and you just realize like they're normal people like you, and it just gets boring after a while. And like I'm not going to mention any names, but some people are just so like involved in their own sort of self-importance and like they're sort of it was actually quite crazy that like it sort of puts you off that sort of thing with music.
Sure.
It's always something I've loved. The main reason I got into it was more because in my formative years from like 13 to, well, even older, but 13 to 15, 16, 17, 18, I'd go to gigs, like the sort of bands I listened to. I was even into, I loved pop punk when I was like 13. And all
Hell
that,
yeah.
Listening to like Blink 182
Yep.
and Boys Like Girls, bands like that. And then there was like a massive indie landslide where you had like Arctic Monkeys, The Kooks, One Night Only. There's a band I loved. They were a bit more pop punk, but they were a UK band called Go Audio that were incredible. But yeah, it was just like going into that scene, seeing all that, and that was the sort of music that I loved. And it was just, I think it was listening to that in my formative years is what got me into music. Like during this, weirdly enough, when I had the job before I went to Magaluf, I couldn't even play guitar at this point, and I wanted to learn. And I bought one, didn't do anything with it. And then I went to Magaluf and like all of that stuff with a band and learning guitar and everything like that all got put completely on pause for the next year or so, I guess. So yeah, it's actually counterintuitive in a way.
Gotcha. And so you were a big fan of pop punk, which is a huge point on our end because we love pop punk as well. And I really, really love your song "Never Listen." There's something about the way that song is structured that really it's very unique, but it's also very reminiscent in a way. Like I feel like I was listening to it and I felt like I had heard it before, even though I hadn't. And it's not because it's like it sounds like anything else. It's just a familiar song with the way that it feels. And so I wanted to see like what was the inspo for that song specifically, because it seems like there's definitely some sort of message in it, or at least I'm perceiving it as having some sort of message.
Yeah. So, well, actually, unfortunately, that song was written by our bass player. So I can give you the message of what I take from it and how I feel. Okay. I guess to be fair, I did work with him in the end in structuring the song and layering it and doing it a bit more, because in the beginning because we both actually singing it, so it's me singing the choruses and it's him singing the verses, and then there's a bit of overlapping and things like that. So like we sort of work together in structuring it. The meaning of the song, like with Jules, he's like a very I feel like mine and his songwriting capabilities are very much yin and yang, which I love. Because mine, I always try and fit if this is a sad song, I always try and fit some form of hope in there, or I prefer writing upbeat and happy songs. Whereas Jules really likes to write about his emotion and how he feels in the moment. I can say
Right.
that he is in a happy, loving relationship. So just put
That's
that out
great.
there first.
Yeah.
Never listen. Sounds like a breakdown of communication. He is very happy.
Yeah.
He loves his partner, so that's all good. But yeah, it's just, I guess it's just, it must have been about a past relationship, breakdown of communication, and like how he felt in that moment. Because he does always say to us in practice, he says like, oh, if you go for a breakup, oh, if you're going through something, make sure you write it down, make sure you write a song about it, which is quite weird for me because I really can't touch music in any shape, form, or media if I feel sad. I think I'm just, which
Interesting.
is like yeah, because for most people that is the complete opposite. Like even most of my friends, if they're sad, they'll listen. They'll be like, "Oh, this song got me through this," and I'll listen to this, and it's so. But if I'm sad, my body just like mentally and physically, I just reject music as a whole, and I can't listen to it unless I want to be uplifted, hopeful, happy. Yeah, it's a really weird and different process for me. But the layering of that song, "Never Listen," I think it's a beautiful thing. I think there's great contrast between our voices. The layering works so well into the solo and then back into the chorus, and then the slight change at the end. I really like it. He let me, it must be so hard because I know what it's like when you write songs. Letting me, mess about with the structure of the song because I absolutely love it. Must have been hard for him, but I think it's paid off in the end because it's doing really well on Spotify as well. So
nice.
We're really happy with it, and thank you so much for appreciating our art as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great.
We'll definitely link the song into the description of this episode to your spot. Well, of course.
And what I was gonna say, because that's what Christian's saying is right in line with what I was setting up, which was because we have you on, we'd love to shout you guys out, not just like verbally, but we'd love to maybe see if we could splice in one of your songs to the episode. And my question was going to be, if you could only choose one song to really show people who the IDKs are, what would that be? And is it okay if we splice that into this episode?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. So for me, and annoyingly, the song that I think that shows us best is our unreleased song, which is not going to be the next release, the release after, which is a song called Axiom. Out of the songs that we've currently got released, for me, it's Something About You. Although I think the rest of the band would say Never Listen. I'll go with Never Listen because I think we are a majority. And, in a democracy, you must always go with everyone. So we'll go with Never Listen. Because, I think that's the one that
we'll add it to the end of this episode.
And I was gonna say too, if it is an unreleased song, I mean, this probably isn't going to come out for 3 or 4 weeks. This episode, I was gonna say we could always drop that when you drop the song or something like that, so we can work stuff out. But man, I'm just really excited to have a song on here from you guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, we're a big fan of promoting more like indie DIY kind of bands. Is definitely where me and Damien kind of a huge part of our podcast. We would do music if we could, but we're not that talented.
I was in bands all throughout high school and throughout some of the college years, so I'm really into it. I'm not talented by any means, but I really enjoyed it as a passion project. And just quick backstory to the IDKs as well. My mom and her boyfriend just came and stayed out in LA with me, and while we were out at the pool, I was playing your EP, and they're like,
"Oh, thank you so much.
I've never heard this. Who is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a band called IDKs. They're from the UK." And they're like, "Oh, I've never heard of them." And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna have them on the pod, so check it out."
Oh, nice! Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, no, it's great. We've got, weirdly enough, on Spotify, the majority of our following is from the US.
Really? That's pretty cool.
That we've seen, which is pretty cool. Getting a reach out there, especially because it's going so well, like live here and things. But no, I appreciate it, David. Thanks so much. You said you was into music. What do you play any instruments or anything like that, or what sort of music did you play?
So I was always a vocalist, and I kind of diddied around on keyboard every once in a while, just like, you know, holding the chords. My guitarist at the time was multifaceted with his playing ability, so he could play anything, and he'd just be like, okay, so for this chorus, just hold these for, you know, an 8 count, and then hold, like, so it was just stuff like that, the simple stuff, things that I could do while I was being the vocalist, because we were a metal band. So,
and then I was in high school, I was in like band classes, so I played like trombone and tuba, which is such a weird instrument. And then in orchestra, I played the upright bass, which turned into the electric bass. But we were very originally we were like a Blink-182 tribute band, because we all just really loved Blink-182. And then eventually we had some of our own songs. So yeah, we were very pop punky influences.
Yeah.
And so I want to get into.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, go for it, Greg. Sorry.
So yeah, that's right. No, it's quite cool with like music and stuff. Like, I find it weird when people say that, you know, I'm not talented enough and stuff like that. Because genuinely, my honest opinion is I am probably the worst guitarist I've ever met. I'm terrible at guitar. I would not be able to make it into my band if I applied. It's just so lucky that I essentially created the band.
Yeah.
I think I'm a pretty good songwriter, and I can write songs, and I can play guitar, and I guess I can somewhat sing. But that's why I just think. I mean, I'm lucky to have the guys that I have around me with Jules, Mason, and Mitch, because them guys genuinely are incredible musicians. I've always said this. I've always said it about them. You know, so I am lucky in that way. But it's weird because individually, like, yeah, we can do a bit, but when we come together, like, the sum of our parts is just so much greater. And I think sometimes it's not always about talent, because when you, like, for instance, I was watching documentaries on Kurt Cobain, and he was saying, like, he didn't even know it's the same with me, to be fair, but he didn't even know the chords he was playing. Yeah. And he would just play strum and stuff like that, and eventually, you know, Nirvana, which is just mental. So yeah, I don't think it's always down to talent. I think it's down to the scene, the people at the time, and sometimes I think there is like a huge bit of luck of meeting the right people to get in the band as well. I think, because I think I've been very lucky in that instance of who I've met and who has joined.
Yeah, so you mentioned you knew Mason, your drummer, from growing up and from college. How did the band come together? Yeah,
so I'll mention that because obviously your American audience. It's a UK college, not American college, which is slightly different. So we finished high school at 16, and then you can either do sixth form or college for 2 years, or it might be different depending on what course you take. But it's essentially, our college is like the last 2 years of your high school. So I actually went to college to study electrical, to become an electrician, which is where I met Mason, the drummer. So I was here. I remember we was going on a night out one night, and I went back to his, because then we was going to get a cab to his place from there. So he had like this spare room, and I think I can't remember why he went in there, but he looked, and there was this drum kit. I couldn't play guitar or anything at this time, and he was just like, this is just incredible. And then, I said, that's amazing. I didn't know he could play drums, didn't know he could play an instrument, anything like that. I didn't know he was into the same music as me at that point. And he was like, do you want me to give you a go? Just give me a song. The song, you might know the song. The song that I chose was Everywhere by Michelle Branch.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Nice. I don't know if you've heard it. Yeah. I don't know why. At the time, I just loved that song. My guilty pleasure. But and literally just like every beat was just spot on. He was playing it. It was incredible. And I was like, if I create a band, this guy's going to be in it. Probably fast forward, how old was it? 17. I think it was a couple of years later. So about 3-4 years later, I eventually learned to play guitar. And I used to work with this guy from Australia called Dean. And he was saying to me, he was really good at guitar. He played in cover bands, and like he played in front of crowds of like thousands of people and stuff.
Oh,
like
wow.
He was really good. He was incredible. And he said to me the best way to learn, because I was still learning at the time, so I was practicing at home and stuff like that. One of my guitar teachers played guitar for Adele, I think, at one point.
Wow! Oh shit!
Quit with him. I don't know why I quit. It was so stupid. I quit to play English football with my friends, and then regretted it. Went back. He was too busy, so then I started just practicing on my own on YouTube, just learning like Oasis covers, Nirvana covers.
Which I'm gonna take a pause there, because I was joking with Damien. He's like, "Do you have any questions for Greg before we get on?" I was like, I gotta ask him if he tried to get Oasis tickets, and if you did get Oasis tickets.
I am. Imagine the most insufferable Taylor Swift fan. That is me for Oasis.
We're big fans.
Honestly, it's like for me. Yeah, Oasis for me are just like It's actually because I've always been of the opinion, which is a very unpopular opinion. For me, Oasis are the best UK band ever. I genuinely think they are better than the Beatles. I always did. Even before all this mania and all stuff like that. I still think the Beatles are great. Obviously, their music is... But for some reason, like, for me, Oasis is just... I relate to it more. And, yeah, for me, they're the pinnacle of UK rock music.
Yeah. So did you get tickets?
I think it goes to show at the moment as well with, unfortunately, I did not. I'm actually livid. One of my friends who's from Manchester, he managed to get 8 tickets, all of them, but he's got friends who are going with him. When I say that, he got them on his account and his brother's account. So I applied for tickets, waited in the queue from 6 a.m. for 3 hours.
Wow.
And then the site crashed and it put me to the back of the queue.
No.
I then waited until 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were all gone. I applied for the ballot, the first ballot, didn't get anything. Applied for this second ballot that's now gone out, and again, nothing. So unless by some divine miracle we start supporting them next year, which is on the manifestation board.
Yes.
Then I don't know. I think we'll definitely see them. There's been rumours about I've seen on Twitter and Instagram. Liam's been saying about them. They've already written a new album.
Wow! Wow! Nice.
Sometimes it does go a bit over the top, so I don't know. So I'm assuming they're going to do a best of tour first. So if they do that and then release the album, I'm hoping the new album I'll be able to get tickets for. But you just don't know. They could, as long as they're going for long enough, I will eventually be able to see them. I've actually got this. This is cool. So this bracelet right here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yep.
It's Noel Gallagher's guitar strings from his last.
No shit.
High Flying Birds tour.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was selling them on like a charity, and I was like, I'm absolutely getting them. So every gig, every podcast, anything musically I do, he's a left-handed guitarist, so I always put it on my my left hand. So yeah, he's still with me.
Yeah,
spiritually.
I've enjoyed some of the memes that came out because of like the queue was just so long and a miserable experience. I'm not sure if Ticketmaster is big in the UK as the US, but it might be the most hated company in America because it's just atrocious of a company. But one of my favorite memes was because the queue was so long. Actually, Oasis has broken up in the time you've been in the queue.
Yeah, split up while I was in the queue.
But Ticketmaster's still going to charge you $45 in processing fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, there's a whole thing at the moment because obviously, Oasis is supposed to be like a working class band for the working class people. The tickets are already quite expensive. People are really struggling in the UK at the moment. I don't know what it's like over there in the US. Same. But and they on top of that, Ticketmaster chucked on was it like the dynamic pricing or something like that? So the tickets went from
that's a big American thing.
Yeah, it's
more
insane.
than double. And we were like, they've been fucking uproar over that. We weren't like, we really weren't happy, and the fans weren't happy. It's still sold out because obviously it's Oasis, like people are going to pay for it. But I've just always said no matter how well the band do, even if we do make it to that price, like that level, I would never like to sell tickets to that amount because there's kids out there who really can't afford it. You know, their parents are probably working to make ends meet and trying everything. They'd love to be able to buy their kids or even take their kids to go see one of their favourite bands with, you know, a band who should be relatable. So, I do think bands like that should definitely make their tickets a lot cheaper and make it more affordable to the working class.
Yeah, I think that also, because me and Damien grew very like poor, I think is the best way to put it. But I think part of the reason why I fell in love with pop punk so much was I couldn't afford to go to the big arena shows, but I could go pay, you know, a tenner to see either a local band or a semi-local band that was touring around, because, you know, a lot of those bands were playing at, you know, maybe 1,000 people capacity theaters, and I'm still a little bit of that way. I love going to DIY shows because of that, and sometimes those are like, it's, you know, I do wish you, you know, I want you to play arenas. That would be so cool and stuff. But there was a, you know, kind of,
you and me both.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you heard of it. They're called Hot Milligan. They're here in the States, and I love them. But they never came through where I live. I live in the very middle of America. Not a lot of people, like the mid. But the only time they came through was a big arena show, and they were just like, they're not an arena band, if that makes sense. I wish I could have seen them in a smaller place, just because their like style is not very arena-y, and they even acknowledged that, which is funny. No, it's one day you'll be playing at Wembley, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, first for me, the ideal. I'm a massive West Ham fan, so for me, London Stadium is the big arena target for me. I'd love to play there. That's a dream come true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the if they gave me a choice of arena, that would be the first place I'd play. Yeah. I don't think Jules would be too happy. He's a Spurs fan, so.
Oh yeah, I'm a Spurs fan as well.
I don't know, but. Oh, so you are? No.
Nope. And the only people give me a hard time because they are one of the wealthier teams. But I wasn't really a Premier League fan until I went to the UK, and one of my really good classmates is from North London, and so he was like, he was like, hey, come to the pub with me to watch matches, and I was like, well, I don't really care about football, but I do enjoy a good pint, so I'll go for any excuse to drink.
Exactly.
I'll go to the pub. And so and then eventually I was like, well, I guess I'll make this my team. And so
I mean, to be fair, the way that you got your team isn't too dissimilar from, I guess, most people. You don't. It's weird. Like we don't really have a choice. So for me, the strange thing is, because usually the way it works is who your dad supports, you usually end up supporting. My dad's actually an Arsenal fan.
Interesting.
But he never took any of us to. Yeah, he never took any of us to Arsenal games. We was all like from East London. Like when you was younger, West Ham used to do Kids for a Quid a lot.
Wow.
I used to play football when I was really young, from like 7 to 15. So our coach would like hire out like a minibus. All the parents would have to pay like, I don't know, £1 and then whatever for the football coaches. We'd go down there and we'd watch West Ham like 2 or 3 times. As I got older, I'd go watch football with my friends, and it would always be like West Ham games. So for me, it was just a logical thing for me to support West Ham because I've been there so much. And it actually turns out both my brothers support West Ham as well, just because pretty much the same reason, like going down there with friends and stuff like that. So, which is actually quite unusual for you to support a different team than your parents. But yeah, so Christian, you're pretty much in the same category as me, as in the way that you support your team.
Yeah, no. And so now I watch it almost every, wake up in the morning because the games are so early where we live, and have some coffee and watch it. And so, it's, so I know that like festivals are big in UK culture. Have you played any festival this summer with IDK?
No, we haven't. So for some reason, I think it was, what was we working on for ages? We've really just been getting back into it. For a long while, we were without a guitarist. We was working on, the singles that got released last year. So we were just working on getting a new guitarist, which took forever. once we'd got a new guitarist, we started gigging again because obviously we wanted to get back into it. So we've done some gigs. We have played a festival before in Housestead, but we haven't played many like festivals or anything like that yet. And then that guitarist, unfortunately, he's gone now. So that we've now got our current lead guitarist, Mitch. And at the moment, I mean, it's coming up to the winter period here now. So yeah, all the summer's slowed down. We've done a fair few gigs, to be fair. We've played a fair few bit all over London. But yeah, at the moment we're just focusing on working on these new tracks to get them out, to have one released hopefully pretty soon in the next month or so, and then a new track in the new year. So yeah, no festivals so far this year. But you are right about festival culture in the UK. It's huge. Like, yeah, I'd love to play Reading Community Fest. Mm-hmm. Glastonbury would be an absolute dream come true.
That would be awesome.
I've been to most of them festivals as a punter, traveling down there and having a listen, seeing some great bands. But yeah, nothing yet. Hopefully, I reckon the target is by next year to play our first like big festival as like a support in like a supporting slot. That's the target for next year, I think, with the way the music's going.
Yeah, I randomly stumbled upon a YouTube channel. There, some lads based out of the UK called TPD TV, and like they just go to festivals. And so I've just learned. Yeah, no, shout out to them. They seem like pretty stand-up guys, and so, and it's kind of funny because it's just like just started watching them, and so I've learned all about like Glastonbury. I was like, I'd never had heard of that, and I was like, oh, that's the Coachella of the UK.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Yeah.
And all these little festivals. And so, that's why I was kind of curious if you guys had played any. Yeah. Sorry, Damon. I feel like I've just controlled this interview.
I'm learning a lot.
And I feel, sorry also listeners for just purely UK talk.
I think they're probably thrilled to not listen to me for a change.
I know I am.
Got to know when to hold them, when to fold them.
Yeah.
Just like that one guy said.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Anyways, I think we're getting to the end here. We usually try to do about an hour. Before we go, I guess I wanted to kind of go back to one of the themes of the podcast and one of our last questions that we like to ask people. And you kind of answered it in the beginning, which is, wherever family is. But if you could live anywhere on Earth, money's not a thing. You could like take your family, no rules. Where would you live anywhere on Earth?
Anyone on Earth, no money. Oh, it's so hard for me because it's I guess in a tax-free haven. So,
that is
that's the best
British,
answer we've had.
The most Britishy answer possible. Gonna move to fucking Spain.
That question's so hard for me. To Magaluf with a family.
Yeah,
it's for me. It's quite a weird one. Like I don't know. I'm not into flash stuff. I'm not into fast cars. I'm not into Oh, I would love to learn to sail, though. I'm just not really into flash or materialistic things. So for me, it's like fancy places, big houses, and all that. It's just not a massive thing for me. I love doing music. I guess anywhere that I have space to do my music, and where would be a great place where I could. I don't know. It's so bad. A boring answer is like I'm not that bothered. The fun answer would probably be. Florida.
Okay. Okay.
I think that
was unexpected.
I think that was the very first person. Because for us Americans, Florida, we're like, no.
I can see the headline now.
Really?
I can see the headline now.
Florida
which is,
man.
Yeah. UK Florida man comes to Miami and starts a Magaluf style resort.
Yeah, that's incredible. That'd be amazing. Yes. I'm too outside of the music, outside of the going out, getting pissed, having a drink, having a laugh. My life's pretty boring. all I love is I just love watching football. I love music. I love getting pissed. I love spending time with my friends. I love spending time with my family. So
Also,
like I said, anywhere my family would be happy, I guess.
Sorry to cut you off. Piss means something very different in America.
Cool. Oh yes. I didn't piss my pants.
He just gets here and he's just raging out. He's just angry. He's like, I'm getting pissed.
Oh right, yes, angry for you guys. Yeah. Very, very intoxicated.
Yes. So yeah, sorry. I was just thinking about that one as well because I one time said like I got mad and I was like, oh, I'm so pissed, and they're like, it's 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. What are you doing with your life?
Yeah, why are you drinking? I wish you had an intervention.
Yeah, with that, if you ever end up in the States or Florida, or because we don't consider that part of the States.
Yes.
Okay.
But if you come around, Christian and I also like to get pissed and have a few laughs and some pints. So
nice.
If you're ever around, let's get together. But I think that will just about do it. So I guess before we go, let people know where they can find you, the band. Where can they listen to you? Socials, stuff like that.
Any upcoming show?
Any upcoming shows?
Up. Yeah.
It'll be like 2 or 3 weeks from now, probably.
So, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so our next upcoming show is on October the 4th at the Old Dispensary. And sorry, we might have another one. Oh, I'm so gassy at the moment. Maybe the second. I don't think this one's been fully confirmed yet. So yeah, 4th of October at the Old Dispensary in London, and we might have one on the 2nd of November at the Water Rats in London, which for me again is another amazing one because Oasis had their first gig there. In London.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, which is cool. So you can catch us. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and our handle is at IDKS_the. Our link tree is linktr.ee/the IDKs. So yeah, if you go to our Instagram, TikTok, wherever, and you grab our link tree, you can listen to our music on Spotify, which is again the IDKs. There's like a little apostrophe before the S. But yeah, you can listen to our tracks there. We've got 2 new tracks coming out soon. So the next one out is You're All Right. And then after that, likely going to be released in the new year because no one's going to listen to us in December. Mariah Carey's out. So, our track after that, Axiom, will be an absolute banger of a tune. So going into next year, definitely we're going to got some really solid tunes. The full set list will be out and just watch the space. We're growing and growing on Spotify. So if you join the movement now, you're going to be joining us early enough on to catch like all the cool stuff, all the good gigs and say, I was there in London.
Yes.
In 2-4 when they did blah, blah, blah. So
that's what Christian and I are looking forward to, is following the journey. And it's just been a pleasure of an episode, and it's always great to hear you guys' music, and we look forward to the upcoming year for new music. And until then, check out this song, Never Listen by the IDKs. And until next time, bye.
Bye.